Cutting immigration to combat the country's housing shortage is short-sighted and risks wage and productivity growth. That is according to KPMG Chief Economist Rynne, who joins me live now. Good to see you, Brendan. Before we get into the immigration stuff, I just want to ask you about what's happening in the Red Sea. We've got Houthi attacks on trade ships going through. 15% of trade goes through the Red Sea, including 12% of oil. Petrol is already so expensive. We've got $200 billion in trade already being diverted from this route because of these potential attacks on these ships. How concerned are you about what price impacts the disruption that we're seeing in the Red Sea is going to have on Australian prices and inflation in general?
So I think the primary concern is really around what this does for people's consideration on geopolitical risk more generally. We know that geopolitical risks are rising as an area of concern, and that then influences both consumers and business confidence and what's actually happening within the global economy. From an inflationary impacts perspective, I don't expect it to be much, and I would expect it to be relatively temporary. For the reason being is that even if all the shipping traffic is diverted out of using the Suez Canal and the Red Sea route, particularly trade between Europe and China and the rest of Asia, there are alternative routes. They just take longer for those goods to get there. So what that might do is have a temporary supply impact for some goods in that certainly trade between Asia and Europe, and both two-way trade and also trade from Australia. The concern from Australia will be not being able to deliver, say, commodities, grains, for example, into the Middle East. But again, there could be, or I expect there to be, alternative delivery routes. The issue is just time and cost, and they will just sort themselves out. It's just this initial period where the shock is occurring and people remain uncertain as to how it's actually going to get resolved. That's what I would imagine would be, the primary concerns at the moment.
Okay. Oh, well, that sounds promising. Now, a big reason we are seeing a housing and rental crisis is because there is just too much demand and not enough supply. That is widely known. But yes. You think that cutting down record levels of immigration is short-sighted to deal with the problem. Can you explain why you think that?
So work that we've done at KPMG over a number of years now shows that there's a strong causal link between the level of skilled migration that's coming into the country and levels of labour productivity. And what we're able to show was that when you have that much stronger levels of skilled migration, you're able to see flow-through benefits in labour productivity. And the obvious reason for that is that you're bringing in individuals who have good experience, highly trained, well-skilled, particularly in those areas that we have a shortfall. Now, that linkage then enables labour productivity growth to create real wage growth. And so there is that direct effect, therefore, between skilled migration and real wage growth. And we've been able to prove that at an individual industry level. And so while at the moment we do have a large influx of net overseas migration, in particular, what we've also seen over the last 12 months is a very large return of international students. Now, they still need somewhere to live and, that's still taking accommodation away. But I think that we need to divorce housing policy from population policy and migration policy. Now, I think the government's migration strategy that they released towards the end of last year was well considered and well thought through. We think that there's also going to be this large population surge will be temporary. It's not going to be at these record high numbers forever.
Yeah.
Largely what we've seen is a return in migration numbers as after the borders have shut due to COVID. And when you look at trend population growth, even though that we've had something like 2.4% population growth over the last 12 months, if you compared our population levels compared to trend growth pre-COVID, we're still probably just a little bit shy of where we otherwise would have been. So much of this population growth has really been capture.
All right, no worries. Well, Rynne, we've got to get to an ad break, but good to get your perspective on that. We'll talk to you again soon, hopefully.
No worries. Thanks very much and Happy New Year.
You too.